recently had the privilege of working on an oral history project with women on Rikers Island through the Student Press Initiative. She now works at Global Kids as an educator and coordinates a variety of leadership and community service projects with public high school students from all around the city. She is grateful that her parents, Lila and Omar, are joining us here today from Oman. Their deep love and sacrifice have inspired everything she has done and managed to accomplish. It is now my very great pleasure to introduce to you our student speaker, Ms.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. 774 million people around the world cannot read or write a full sentence that includes their own name or where they come from. Of those, 2/3 are women. Perhaps that comes as no surprise that 75% of children who drop out of primary school have mothers who are illiterate. These same children make up the majority of the 72 million worldwide who are not in schools because poverty, inequality, and war have made schools scarce and inaccessible. If you pause to think about these numbers, you might conclude that they reflect a part of the world that is far removed from our own. However, right here in the United States, 18 million adults do not read well enough to earn a living wage. 63% of people who are in prison are functionally illiterate and hence can't earn wages that would allow them to make ends meet. In our own backyard, just a few blocks from where we sit, only 1 in 4 young Black men graduate from high school in 4 years' time. Behind these numbers are countless stories of fathers, grandmothers, restaurant workers, and home aides right here in New York City who struggle. They struggle to beat these odds, they struggle to overcome these inequalities, and they struggle to defy their consequences by finding creative ways to educate themselves. Their stories rarely make it onto our TV screens, or even into our classroom discussions. And yet, it is their stories that have inspired me, and I imagine many of us here, to come to Teachers College. They feed us the type of energy and hope that can only come from another human being. Today, I want to share a story with you that I have often drawn energy and inspiration from in my own life. It is the story of a Sudanese woman named Hawa who came to this country many years ago seeking better opportunities in life. I share it because it inspired me to get to this moment, to imagine celebrating my graduation from Teachers College with you all. And I share it because it reminds me of my responsibility towards the people in our own communities and countries who do not share these same privileges with us, but who dream of their own graduations. Hawa's story. Hawa always talks about faith like it was a warm blanket you could crawl under when it got too cold. Faith, she would say, is what makes people get up every morning to plant seeds that may never survive. It's what makes them cope with having to help children with hungry bellies fall asleep at night. Not because the earth doesn't produce enough to feed them, but because some have found ways to profit from its fruits. You see, Hawa had farmed cotton for sale on the world market since she was 8 years old. For 17 years, her world was all about faith. Waiting for overdue rainy seasons, harvesting plants you couldn't eat and had to sell, walking for miles to get to the closest well, and coming home every night to make food for a family that meant the world to her. Before Hawa ever got a chance to pick up a book, she was tilling land and planting seeds because she understood that her hands could do where Hawa and I are from, schools are created out of nothing and have children reading, drawing, memorizing, and daydreaming of places they'd like to go and people they'd like to meet, like Jack and Jill from the UK 1960 edition schoolbook they all share. You don't choose, Hawa would say, between your family and an English schoolbook. Instead, you learn to let go and allow your hands to do what God puts you on this earth to do. 20 years later, she holds a book in her calloused hands and stares into a gray sky on the south side of Chicago, daydreaming of her country, all the places she'd like to go back to, and all the people she'd give anything to see. It's been 12 years for Hawa in a cold place that has strangely become home. Tomorrow, she'll be graduating from community college a few hours after her overnight shift as a parking lot attendant ends at 6 a.m. Tomorrow, she'll be reading a speech about her journey to the podium in flawless English. She'll have tears in her eyes because her mother won't be there to share her pride. Tomorrow, she'll be letting go of years of, we don't want people like your years. She'll be telling people that she came here looking for the opportunity to have choices that are more humane than war and hunger. She'll share that years of tilling and farming the land have taught her that this here earth is too rich and full to devour these choices. She'll then lift her head and pause before reminding everyone to remember their faith like it's a warm blanket that can shelter them from the storm as they venture in pursuit of their dreams. Then she'll pause one more time and say, beyond faith though, I hope you'll always remember your responsibility towards this here earth and its children. I count my blessings every day for people like Hawa in my life. She shows me that an education is truly one of the greatest riches one could hold in this world. She also teaches me that with education comes a deep responsibility to act upon the problems that we have spent years analyzing and researching. Young girls in Western Sudan continue to be forced to pick survival over literacy. And young boys in Harlem continue to have to think of college as a far reach. The request I leave you with today is let's make a commitment, a collective pact, if you will, to act as best as we can so that people like Hawa, at home and abroad, can soon move through life with choices more humane than poverty and war. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Her and the mom. Why did you surprise your mom like that? Oh, girl, you look so good. Turn around so we can get a picture of you. Come on. I didn't know I was going to meet you. Oh, God.